NASA's live stream, which so many had hoped would finally unveil the secrets of the mysterious interstellar visitor known as Oumuamua, delivered not clarity, but profound disappointment, and ignited fresh debate. The agency presented what they call one of the clearest images ever taken of the object, captured by the powerful high-rise camera aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, an instrument celebrated for its stunningly detailed portraits of the Martian landscape. Yet the photograph revealed to the world was not the crisp, high-definition portrait so many had imagined. Instead, the public saw a blurry, faintly luminous smudge, a shape that offered more mystery than insight. This single frame, intended to showcase the prowess of a multi-billion-dollar spacecraft, became an instant symbol of frustration. Amateur astronomers had spent weeks uploading their own images of Oumuamua, and in many cases, their backyard telescope shots appeared sharper than what NASA had produced. The comparison spread rapidly, breeding public dissatisfaction. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, and it had fallen dramatically short of the hype. For an agency equipped with humanity's most advanced imaging technology, expectations had soared. To see such a vague and ill-defined representation of the interstellar object left observers stunned. What deepened the skepticism was the curious timing of the release. Nearly a full month after HiRISE had captured the data, by the end of October, NASA had published nothing. They cited a government shutdown as a cause for delay, but critics questioned why a single image couldn't have been shared online during that time. As many pointed out, posting one photograph to social media doesn't require an entire agency to be operational, especially one with so little visible detail. The delay seeded suspicion. Was NASA withholding something? Had they carefully staged the image's release? The build-up to the live stream made the letdown all the more stark. When NASA announced a special broadcast, the world braced for a major revelation, a groundbreaking insight, perhaps, or an astonishingly clear image of Oumuamua. Instead, viewers were shown a blurred, cloud-like mass, its center faintly aglow. As the broadcast ended, a wave of disappointment swept through the audience. The event had promised far more than it delivered. The contrast between amateur imagery and NASA's official release became one of the most heated topics of discussion. How could individuals, using modest equipment in their backyards, produce clearer images than a sophisticated camera orbiting another planet? Enthusiasts and researchers alike voiced concern. Many found it difficult to accept that HiRISE, renowned for its exceptional clarity, would return such a low-quality frame. It left a haunting question hanging in the air. Had the public truly been shown the best available image? Altogether, the release of this long-awaited photograph left a lingering sense that something was being left unsaid. Then, on October 21st, 2025, the YouTube channel Dobson in Power released a set of images now being called the clearest and most revealing captures of the interstellar object Oumuamua ever taken. Photographed during a live astronomical observation, the images triggered an international wave of fascination and fierce debate. They appeared to show something extraordinary, a vast, disc-shaped structure suspended in the blackness of space, radiating light in a way no known natural body should. According to Dobsonian Power, the image was captured live and had not been altered, enhanced, or manipulated in any way. The photographer insisted that what viewers saw was the raw output straight from the telescope. That claim alone ignited fervent discussion, with many suggesting this could be the world's first unfiltered, high-resolution glimpse of an artificial object passing through our solar system. In these images, Oumuamua does not resemble a distant comet or a streak of cosmic dust. It presents as a luminous, symmetrical disk, glowing softly against the void. Its structure seems too precise to be a random assemblage of rock and ice. The outer edge is perfectly circular, while the center reveals a darker region, a cavity or opening, wreathed in faint multicolored light. Tones of blue, red, and green appear to ripple across its surface, as though energy flows through its form. Observers immediately noted the sharpness of the edges, something incredibly difficult to achieve in amateur astrophotography unless the object itself was emitting or reflecting light in a highly controlled manner. Online, countless viewers describe the object as mechanical, not natural, something designed, not formed by cosmic chance. Within hours, the image went viral. On Twitter, it was shared tens of thousands of times, met with reactions ranging from awe to disbelief. Some called it a massive craft. Others declared it the most important space photograph of the decade. The response was immediate and intense. Many pointed out that its clarity seemed to surpass even images released by major observatories or government space agencies. Commenters focused on the broader implications. For years, independent researchers had claimed that Oumuamua, an interstellar visitor passing through our solar system, exhibited strange behavior, structured light pulses, an anti-tail pointing toward the sun, and reflection patterns that defied comet physics. Now, this new image seemed to confirm their deepest suspicions, that the object might not be natural at all. Some argued that the symmetrical disk could be the clearest evidence, yet that Oumuamua is of artificial origin. The resemblance to engineered craft, both from modern aerospace and historical accounts of unidentified aerial phenomena, did not go unnoticed. If this object truly is a disc-shaped vessel, its presence in our solar system could mark one of the most profound discoveries in human history. What makes the situation even more compelling is the timing. The image was captured just 2 days before NASA's scheduled update on ongoing planetary defense coordination related to Oumuamua. Earlier that month, the International Asteroid Warning Network had added the object to its tracking list due to its unpredictable movements and light emissions. Since then, several space agencies had quietly adjusted observation schedules to focus on this one mysterious visitor. Now, with this new photograph circulating worldwide, people are asking, did these agencies know more than they were admitting? Why had no official observatory released comparable high-resolution images, despite having far more advanced equipment? The fact that an independent YouTuber captured such a clear and compelling image has fueled speculation that major institutions may be withholding data. Dobsonian Power S footage has become a rallying cry for citizen astronomers and independent researchers. Many praise the YouTuber's transparency and insistence on sharing the raw image. "This is what science should be," wrote one viewer in a comment that gained thousands of likes. No filters, no edits, just the truth of what's out there. Others believe this moment could mark a turning point, proof that private citizens can now reveal what governments and institutions might prefer to keep hidden. The photograph itself continues to be analyzed frame by frame. Some note that the light distribution and symmetry suggest a consistent, engineered pattern, not random scattering. The core appears darker, as if light is being absorbed or funneled inward, while the perimeter glows in a uniform halo. This effect, some argue, could indicate energy emission or field generation, more akin to advanced propulsion than natural comet reflection. As the image spreads, public interest has reached a fever pitch. Mainstream news outlets have begun cautiously referencing the photos, describing them as unexplained but visually striking. Countless online discussions debate what the object could be: an ancient satellite, an extraterrestrial probe, or an active interstellar vessel observing our solar system. What is clear is that Oumuamua's appearance in this form has captured the global imagination. It has reignited age-old questions. Is humanity truly alone? Could our first direct evidence of other intelligence already be drifting near the sun? Even seasoned astronomers, while cautious, admit the image is perplexing. The precision of the circular shape, the stable light patterns, and the absence of cometary debris make it difficult to categorize within known astronomy. One researcher privately commented that if the image is authentic, it depicts an object unlike anything currently cataloged in our solar system. Public response continues to swell. Online forums dedicated to sky watching and astrophotography have seen record engagement, with enthusiasts attempting to replicate Dobsonian Power S capture using their own telescopes. Some claim to have detected the same faint circular form, though none have matched the clarity of the original. The excitement has brought together professionals, hobbyists, and skeptics, united by a shared sense of wonder. As of now, Dobsonian Power S photograph remains the most compelling visual evidence of Oumuamua to date. Whether it shows an interstellar craft, an unknown cosmic phenomenon, or something beyond current understanding, it has already reshaped the conversation about what lies beyond Earth. The timing, the rawness of the image, and the unmistakable disc-like shape have created a palpable sense that something monumental has occurred. In the absence of official clarification from major space agencies, the world is left to draw its own conclusions, and many believe they are looking at the first undeniable glimpse of intelligent design far from our planet. A mysterious video clip released by U.S. news outlets showing footage of the snow moon as shared by NASA has captured public attention, not for its celestial beauty, but for a puzzling, unexplained moment that some believe hints at strange activity. The video, intended to highlight the brilliant full snow moon illuminating the night sky, quickly became the center of controversy after viewers spotted something peculiar, a glowing orb hovering just above the lunar surface, visible for only a few seconds before vanishing from the frame. It was no ordinary full moon. NASA described the event as the special snow moon, the first full moon of the year, and a perfect opportunity for sky watching. But the incident begins innocently. The video captures a serene moon against a dark sky. Then, eagle-eyed viewers notice a small, luminous object gliding slowly above the moon's top curve. Its motion is smooth, its glow consistent, unlike satellites or space debris, which typically move faster or leave trails. What sparked intense intrigue was the very next frame. The camera had been subtly panned downward, cropping the upper section of the moon and cutting the glowing object out of view. This change did not go unnoticed. On social media, especially among communities dedicated to UFO research and unexplained phenomena, users quickly labeled it an intentional act of omission. Many interpreted the crop shot as an effort to hide the orb from further observation. Some even suggested that NASA or the broadcasters were covering up the sighting of a genuine UFO. Though the orb appeared only briefly, it was long enough for viewers to capture screenshots and dissect every frame. Still images flooded Reddit, YouTube, and Facebook groups, where theories multiplied. Many noted that the object didn't resemble any known aircraft, whether balloon or lens flare. Its clean movement and eerie glow only deepened the mystery. Further fueling speculation was a complete silence from official sources. NASA issued no comment, nor did the news outlets that aired the clip. To many, the silence spoke volumes. The absence of explanation led some to believe the footage was significant enough to warrant suppression, a theory that aligns with long-standing beliefs about government secrecy regarding UFOs. Amateur astronomers, UFO researchers, and even former insiders have accused the space agency of routinely editing or cropping out visual anomalies that may hint at extraterrestrial presence or unexplained phenomena. These claims have grown with the rise of digital analysis and the public's ability to scrutinize NASA's vast archives. One persistent allegation is that NASA censors footage showing potential UFOs near the Moon, Mars, or Earth's orbit. Online communities point to examples from International Space Station live streams, Mars rover photos, and deep space telescope footage where strange objects or lights appear, only to be followed by sudden camera movements, glitches, or feed interruptions. Many claim these interruptions often coincide with the appearance of unknown objects. These suspicions are not new. They date back to the Apollo era. Some former NASA contractors and employees have come forward, anonymously or publicly, alleging involvement in altering sensitive materials. One notable example is Donna Hare, a former NASA illustrator, who stated in interviews that she witnessed photos being airbrushed to remove disc-like objects. Supporters of this theory argue the motive is either national security, fear of public panic, or the protection of secret advanced aircraft developed in clandestine programs. Skeptics suggest the orb could be a camera reflection, a compression artifact, or a satellite flare. Yet, even among more scientifically minded viewers, these explanations haven't fully satisfied. The timing of the crop, combined with the object trajectory and luminosity, left many unconvinced it was merely a glitch. This incident has reignited debates about unidentified objects near the moon, a subject to conspiracy theories for decades, from secret alien bases on the far side to anomalies observed during lunar missions. The appearance of a glowing orb in an official NASA video has breathed new life into these theories, encouraging deeper scrutiny of space agency footage. Online communities are already comparing this sighting to past videos and photos showing unexplained objects near the moon or in Earth's orbit. Some researchers note this isn't the first time such objects have appeared during lunar observations, citing incidents from amateur astronomers and vague accounts from former astronauts. Regardless of the orb's true nature, the video's impact is undeniable. A moment meant to celebrate lunar beauty has instead turned to a haunting, age-old question, are we alone? Whether the orb is a mundane artifact or something extraordinary, the incident reminds us how quickly unexplained anomalies can capture the public's imagination and how our gaze toward the moon remains filled with wonder and suspicion. The moon, Earth's constant celestial companion, has long captivated human imagination, yet its far side, the so-called dark side, remains shrouded in mystery, perpetually hidden from Earth's view. That mystery deepened when China achieved a historic milestone, landing a probe on the moon's uncharted far side. With the successful touchdown of the Chang'e 4 spacecraft, equipped with a robotic rover to explore the terrain for future missions, China cemented its place as the first nation to reach this enigmatic lunar hemisphere. The mission faced immense challenges, especially in communicating with Earth from such unexplored territory. Yet, the rover captured captivating images, including one that raised eyebrows worldwide. In the background of photographs showcasing the barren lunar landscape, an unexplained anomaly appeared, a peculiar object resembling a large, disc-shaped form in the distance. After the image spread, UFO groups and space enthusiasts engaged in fervent debate. Some suggested it was a natural mound or rock formation. Others saw the classic silhouette of a UFO. This unexpected discovery added a layer of mystery to China's groundbreaking mission, sparking waves of speculation across the global space community and beyond. The image is particularly fascinating due to its recent capture and remarkable clarity, a rarity in lunar photography. Many such photos appear blurry, but this one stood out. Those who studied it remarked on the distinct impression of something present in the background, something that shouldn't be there. Amid ongoing discussions about celestial anomalies, one user emphatically stated that the disc-shaped object visible in the image does not belong on the moon. It is, they asserted, an unidentified object, clearly discernible against the lunar backdrop. Another individual, who had spent years combing through archives of historical moon images in search of enigmatic anomalies, hailed this photograph as one of the most remarkable they had ever encountered. They noted that while most unidentified objects were spotted above the moon, this one was different. It was on the surface. This, they argued, lends credibility to astronauts who reported feeling watched during their lunar missions. It's because of photos like this, some have whispered, that we may never have returned to the moon. The idea of UFOs on the lunar surface is not new. For decades, people claim that astronauts witnessed strange phenomena during their missions. Reports describe peculiar objects moving across the lunar sky, unidentified crafts that seem to monitor human activity. Some astronauts have spoken publicly about these encounters, adding weight to the speculation that such images may indeed capture authentic evidence of extraterrestrial presence. The moon is one of the most common locations for UFO sightings each year, one commentator noted. We have countless videos of enigmatic craft near the sun. What makes this image novel is its rarity. It shows an object directly on the lunar surface. They regard this photo as among the most convincing evidence of UFO activity on the moon. The ongoing discourse highlights the enduring fascination and division surrounding the possibility of UFOs in the celestial realm. Astronaut testimonies, combined with visual evidence like this, form compelling elements in the exploration of this mysterious phenomenon. Not everyone is convinced. Some suggest that those reviewing the images simply missed the anomaly. Others argue depict a natural geological formation, or as a case of pareidolia, the mind perceiving patterns where none exist. UFO advocates, however, dismiss these explanations as convenient dismissals. They maintain the image is clear and unambiguous, an object resting on the moon's surface. This diversity of perspectives illustrates the complex nature of interpreting such mysterious images. Through meticulous analysis, proponents and skeptics continue their nuanced debate over what the photograph truly reveals, and what it means for our understanding of the moon and our place in the cosmos. The fascination with the mysterious far side of the moon has surged in recent years, and with each new anomaly, the intrigue only deepens. The mysterious video shared by the former governor of Nuevo Leon, Mexico, Jaime Rodriguez Calderon, has ignited a fresh wave of speculation surrounding the phenomenon of glowing orbs. Captured by his security cameras in the early hours, The footage shows bright spheres of light drifting silently across the darkened landscape of his ranch. When the former governor posted a clip to social media, his genuine question, "Did anyone know what these objects could be?" set the tone for a widely discussed and deeply puzzling incident. The video reveals one luminous orb gliding low over the ground with an unnatural, steady purpose, devoid of the telltale flicker of a drone or aircraft. A second clip shows another glowing object positioned on a distant hillside, its amber light pulsing gently against the stark nighttime terrain. The behavior of these orbs, combined with the credibility of the source, has captivated a global audience already tracking the surge in such sightings. The timing of this sighting is particularly intriguing. In recent months, glowing orbs have dominated news stories involving sensitive airspace. Military personnel, aviation experts, and intelligence officials have described encounters with spherical objects that hovered effortlessly, maneuvered beyond known physics, or displayed unprecedented energy signatures. For a former governor to publicly share footage of identical objects near his home suggests these are not isolated events, but part of a larger, emerging pattern. Mexico itself has long been a hot spot for such mysteries. Across its deserts, mountains, and rural communities, countless witnesses have described luminous spheres drifting soundlessly through the sky, appearing and vanishing without warning. These sightings are so frequent that many residents now view the phenomenon as an undeniable part of the local landscape. Ranchers in the north film orbs accelerating upward with impossible speed. Fishermen along the coast watch lights glide over the ocean. Even in urban centers like Mexico City, spherical objects have been documented weaving between clouds, emitting a steady, unearthly radiance. The objects themselves defy conventional explanation. Eyewitnesses worldwide consistently describe them as appearing like pure energy, lacking wings, rotors, or exhaust, and producing no sound. In the former governor's footage, they moved not like lanterns in the wind, but with deliberate, purposeful trajectories. Their glow was concentrated and self-contained, as if radiating from within, not from an external source. This sighting gains even greater significance when viewed through the lens of history. Glowing orbs have often been peripherally linked to other unexplained events, sometimes appearing just before the formation of intricate crop designs or localized electrical disturbances. While no proven link exists, the recurring pattern has led to speculation that these spheres may act as scouts or probes for larger, more complex craft. The fact that they appeared near the property of a public figure adds a compelling layer. It suggests either intentional observation or profound indifference to human boundaries, both possibilities raising profound questions about their origin and intent. Skeptics propose drones, insects, or reflections, but the footage resists these easy classifications. The light was too bright and steady for an insect, too silent and stable for a drone, and too sustained for a fleeting reflection. The orb's behavior aligns eerily with descriptions from trained pilots who report objects capable of instantaneous acceleration and perfect stillness in turbulent air. These commonalities fuel the theory that we are witnessing a form of advanced technology. Across social media, reactions blended all with apprehension. Many noted the former governor's calm demeanor in the face of the unexplained. The rugged, isolated terrain of his ranch provided a dramatic stage, making the orb's silent, luminous passage all the more vivid. Their mystery is compounded by their silence. Human craft produce noise and heat, but these orbs drift like sentient lanterns, offering no such data. If they operate on a principle of propulsion unknown to our science, it would explain their ghostly grace. The appearance of these objects prior to documented crop formations has led some researchers to theorize they are deployed for atmospheric or environmental scanning. While speculative, the patterns are persistent. The former governor's video is a significant new chapter in this enduring mystery, and his decision to share it publicly reflects a cultural shift. What was once dismissed is now openly discussed by figures of authority, a reminder that unexplained phenomena continue to move through our skies, silent, luminous, and undeniable. An intriguing new post has just surfaced on the subreddit r/UFOs, being hailed as one of the best pieces of evidence for an unidentified submerged object. The post, by Reddit user ZJZ23, details an encounter 10 miles off the coast of Florida. The poster writes, "I understand this is not technically a UFO because it was seen in the water. I work on a research vessel. Recently, We had a trip studying bioluminescence in the Gulf of Mexico. Around 11:45 in the evening, a science party member saw a strange light about a quarter mile off our stern. We immediately made our way towards it. The intensity was astonishing. No one in the crew or the science party knew what to make of it. Our first thoughts were a sunken vessel or a navigational buoy. We proceeded to get as close as possible, eventually hovering directly on top of it. Our vessel has a moon pool in the center, allowing us to observe the light from directly above. We used a subsurface camera to attempt to capture the object. The science party automatically ruled out bioluminescent phytoplankton. This light source was 100% on the ocean floor and did not move with the current. The water depth was 60 feet. As we hovered above, we used an EK-80 sonar to image the ocean floor. To our surprise, the object producing the light was invisible to our sonar, a system capable of detecting objects as small as 3 inches, even those partially submerged in mud. Consider the strength of the light, having to shine through 60 feet of water and be visible from a considerable distance. There was definitely an arc of visibility that seemed brighter from a distance than from directly above. The poster continued, addressing skeptics. Let me preface this with facts. Our research vessel was chartered by scientists from a Florida college. The chief scientist, a PhD whose life's work is bioluminescence, immediately declared this was not that. The location had very low concentrations of bioluminescent organisms. We did not have the gear to send a camera 60 feet down. Bioluminescent organisms move with the currents. This object was completely stationary for our entire observation. My personal opinion, even if it was bioluminescence, how was its luminosity so bright we saw from over 1,000 feet away through 60 feet of water? And why wasn't it moving? We assume it was on the floor because mass is subject to gravity, but we don't know for sure. I'm a mariner. I see unexplainable things often. I've seen lights flying at unreal speeds. This was different. The location was 10 miles west of Calidesi Island, Clearwater Beach, Florida. From encounters reported by American submarines to tales of mysterious humanoids in the profound depths of Russian lakes, emerges a lesser-known counterpart to UFOs. The USO, or Unidentified Submerged Object. Accounts of these submerged anomalies surface globally, often from credible military and scholarly experts, suggesting that underwater fast movers are a regular, if classified, occurrence for submariners. Researcher Nigel Watson highlights that since our planet is predominantly water, it is logical that unexplained objects will be witnessed in these vast, shrouded realms. During the late 1960s, a former Marine expressed astonishment at the frequency of UFO sightings over and around the Guantanamo Bay base. He reported that on a near-nightly basis, objects roughly 50 to 100 feet in diameter, appearing as indistinct, blurry structures emitting a faint glow with a dim, ominous red light, would traverse the sky under 300 feet. The Marine, who remained anonymous in an interview with the Mutual UFO Network, alleged he was instructed not to discuss the sightings. He recounted one specific UFO that resembled a majestic cloud illuminated by a pulsating blend of blue and white lights. In a separate, technologically astounding account, Professor Bob McGuire of Virginia Tech and the Institute for Defense Analyses reported an incident aboard the USS Hampton submarine. The vessel's integrated sonar system detected an unidentified submerged object moving underwater at a velocity surpassing the speed of sound. Professor McGuire, engaged in confidential operations at the time, noted that the crew consciously chose not to investigate the anomaly further, prioritizing their mission, though they did not explicitly swear him to secrecy. Unidentified submerged objects have long piqued the curiosity of researchers and the public alike. These enigmatic vessels, which navigate stealthily and skillfully beneath the waves without leaving a trace, have been documented across the world's oceans, lakes, and rivers. The sheer abundance and consistency of these reports underscore the need for thorough investigation. USOs share a remarkable resemblance with their aerial counterparts, sparking debates on extraterrestrial involvement, clandestine military technology, or even ancient civilizations residing in the abyssal depths. The ocean, covering 71% of the planet and largely unexplored, is the perfect setting for such mysteries. Historical accounts from sailors, fishermen, and naval personnel describe entities with extraordinary abilities, Swift acceleration, abrupt directional changes, and navigation at crushing depths, features that challenge all known human technology. Intriguingly, USO activity is often affiliated with areas of maritime legend, particularly the Bermuda Triangle. Beyond the famous aircraft and vessel disappearances, there are reports of objects seen emerging from or submerging into its waters. A similar zone, the Dragon's Triangle or Devil Sea near Japan, shares its notorious reputation for accidents and unexplained sightings. Advances in technology now allow for more organized investigation using sophisticated sonar, remote-operated vehicles, and deep-sea submersibles. While expeditions have uncovered intriguing structures and peculiarities on the seabed, definitive proof of USOs remains elusive. Their very presence provokes profound questions. Should they exist? What are their origins? Could they represent sophisticated underwater civilizations, antiquated technologies, or undiscovered marine life? The study of USOs highlights the immense challenges of exploring the deep ocean, one of our planet's final frontiers. As our technological prowess evolves, so does our capacity to probe these mysteries. Whether USOs are of interstellar origin, natural phenomena, or man-made relics, they stand as a poignant reminder of the limitless wonders still concealed beneath the waves, fueling humanity's insatiable quest for knowledge. The public's curiosity is fixated on James, the individual in possession of a mysterious cylindrical object often compared to the Beagler sphere. We have attempted to reach out to him, and our position is this. If anyone can open a dialogue, we are prepared to secure the object, protect it, and subject it to rigorous scientific testing, a process that is, admittedly, prohibitively expensive performed correctly. Our goal is to get to the truth of what it is. Since the object is not in our possession, this is all we can do. Extend the offer. To anyone listening, you can reinforce our message. The scientific team and Dr. Gary Nolan are ready to assist. James continues to bring attention to the object, yet our offer of help remains unanswered. That is the current status. As for the object's nature, I am entirely agnostic. It is one of two things, either a non-human artifact, distinct in shape from the Beagler sphere and seemingly newer, or it is a sophisticated man-made replica. Its prominence in the public eye emerged conspicuously around the same time the Beagler sphere went viral, suggesting it could have been deployed as a diversion. I don't know the truth. Given its landing site in Nevada, a region I know to be a hub for assets utilizing anti-gravity and other exotic technologies, euphemistically called ATS or Advanced Technology Systems within the aerospace industry, it very well could be human-made, and if it is, I would argue that it is of even greater significance. Proving it is man-made would pull back the curtain on what covert programs possess and reveal how they have potentially gaslight the public with decoy UFO cases. So, the outcome is profound either way. If it's not human, that's astounding. If it is human, that is equally astounding. It must be investigated thoroughly, not by recklessly drilling into it, but through proper, safe, scientific analysis. We are offering to do just that. The offer stands, and we are eager to help, but the next move is his. Everything escalated the moment James announced he would go live to pierce the metallic cylinder. Speculation exploded. Some warned the object could be hazardous, emitting unknown energies. Others whispered it was something far more extraordinary than any earthly device. James stated he felt profound responsibility to uncover the truth, not only for his own safety, but from a fear that if he remained silent, powerful forces would seize it and bury the secret forever. A live broadcast was his guarantee. There would be no edits, no manipulation. Whatever happened would unfold in real time, witnessed by all. The stream opened inside the same subterranean room where the object had been kept. The cylinder lay balanced on two metal ammunition boxes, its polished surface gleaming under a single, weak overhead bulb. James drifted into the frame, his voice trembling as he explained he couldn't find gloves but would proceed regardless. In his hands was a battered cordless drill, a tool marked by years of hard use. Viewers watched, breath held, as he steadied the drill bit inside one of the shallow indentations he'd already carved into the shell, a practical measure to keep it from skating across the curved metal. The drill whirred to life, its small LED lamp flicking on and casting a soft, bluish tint on the contact point. A slim blue streak appeared on the tube's surface, a perfect reflection of that tiny onboard light. For a moment, everything was ordinary. Then, the ordinary shattered. Seconds after the bit made contact, a strange distortion corrupted the audio. Beneath the drill's mechanical buzz layered a rising, staticky interference, like a corrupted digital signal forcing its way through the microphone. Simultaneously, the room's ambient brightness shifted. Shadows weakened. The walls seemed to brighten, as if a far more powerful light had awakened somewhere out of frame. A second streak of electric blue, static and unmoving, materialized along the cylinder's lower arc. This was no reflection. Experts who later analyzed the footage noted its angle aligned perfectly with sudden, brilliant cyan glow that erupted at the back of the room. This was an eerie, sourceless illumination, the kind of Cherenkov radiance typically seen in the heart of a nuclear reactor, yet here it was, spilling freely across bare concrete. It was then James made a sound that chilled every viewer, a raw, involuntary cry, ripped from instinct, not performance. The drill slipped from his grasp. The camera lurched violently, his silhouette lurching forward before collapsing out of view. A heartbeat later, the screen went completely black. The broadcast, however, did not end. For over 20 minutes, the feed persisted in darkness, punctuated by shifting, shimmering patterns of interference. Slow, rhythmic pulses of bluish-white light brightened the void, their cadence too steady, too smooth to be random. Audio specialists who later amplified the track detected a deep mechanical hum punctuated by metallic thuds, as if something heavy in the room was resonating or moving. There was no sign of James. No voice, no movement. Only the pulsing glow and that steady, ominous hum of unseen engines straining under an immense load. Finally, the blue light swelled to a blinding peak, as if reaching a final catastrophic threshold, and then faded away. The feed died abruptly, not with a button press, but as if the device itself had been drained of power or disabled by the same force that had bent the very light and sound in that room. Because the platform automatically archives live streams, the video remained on James's channel, a ghostly testament to an event its creator could no longer manage. This detail was critical. A complex hoax would have required simulated live streaming software and a controlled studio, resources far beyond those suggested by James's previous low-tech videos. His channel lacked monetization. He avoided showing his face and never sought profit. The usual motives for deception were absent. Furthermore, the phenomena echoed documented patterns in high-strangeness UFO cases. The prior electromagnetic interference, the flickering lights, the compass anomalies. The cylinder itself, with its seamless reflective shell and enigmatic markings, matched descriptions of small probe devices often reported in proximity to larger, non-human craft. The truth of what happened in that room remained sealed, awaiting the day James might recover and choose to speak again. Al Bielek remains one of the most controversial and compelling figures to emerge in the shadowy world of alleged classified military experiments. His claims center on one of the most mysterious events of the 20th century, the Philadelphia experiment. In 1990, Bielek publicly declared he was not merely a witness, but a direct participant, his story sending ripples through research circles not just for its content, but for the way he said it returned to him. Bielek asserted that these memories, repressed for decades, were triggered by the 1984 science fiction film, The Philadelphia Experiment. He believed viewing the movie was no coincidence, but a subconscious key that broke through mental blocks deliberately implanted to suppress a traumatic, classified truth. The memories flooded back in waves, detailed, persistent, and transformative. His central claim was that the film was a dramatization of real events, a form of truth cloaked in fiction. He insisted that on October 28, 1943, he was aboard the USS Eldridge, not as Al Bielek, but as Edward Cameron. The experiment, rumored to be based on lost works by Einstein and Tesla, was not simply about radar invisibility. It was an attempt to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. When the equipment activated, Bielek described a strange greenish fog enveloping the ship, followed by a sudden flash of blue light. The USS Eldridge vanished. According to his account and others like that of witness Carl Allen, the ship didn't just disappear from Philadelphia. It teleported to Norfolk, Virginia, before returning. Bielek's story turned deeply personal and harrowing. He described chaos, sailors becoming violently ill, mentally unhinged, or worse. Fused into the ship's metal structure, their molecules imperfectly reassembled. In a desperate escape, he and his brother Duncan leapt overboard. But instead of hitting water, they fell into an endless void. They blacked out, awakening in a top-secret underground facility in Montauk, New York, in the year 1983. They had been transported 40 years into the future. This led him to the next layer of the legend, the Montauk Project. Bielek described Montauk as a hub of terrifying research into mind control, time travel, and interdimensional manipulation. He believed their arrival was part of a predestined, closed-time loop initiated by the Philadelphia experiment. His narrative grew even more complex. He claimed that after time at Montauk, he was sent back to 1943 and eventually had his consciousness transferred into the body of a newborn, Al Bielek, born in 1927. His past as Edward Cameron was erased, the memories buried until they were slowly excavated through hypnotic therapy later in life. But Bielek's temporal odyssey didn't end in 1983. In one of his final interviews, he recounted that after leaping from the Eldridge, he and his brother initially awoke in the year 2137, hospitalized and disoriented. They were shown maps of a dramatically altered United States, reshaped by cataclysmic events between 2000 and 2016, events that notably do not match our known timeline. This raised a profound question. Was Bielek experiencing memories from a divergent reality? From there, he claimed another unplanned shift, this time to the year 2749, where he remained for 2 years. He described a future Earth governed by a crystalline, telepathic artificial intelligence. Currency was obsolete, replaced by a credit system. Nations had dissolved, and war was eradicated. Vast floating cities drifted across the planet, their gravity-controlled habitats maintained by the central AI. Yet, this utopia had a dark underbelly. The origins of the omnipotent AI were a complete mystery to the populace, a forgotten truth that suggested humanity had surrendered its destiny without even realizing it. Bielek's story, whether interpreted as literal truth, a psychological phenomenon, or a symbolic warning, endures as one of the most elaborate narratives of its kind, filled with technological wonders, future societies, and chilling premonitions about artificial intelligence. It continues to spark intense debate, forcing us to question the very nature of time, memory, and the hidden path of human history. The viral video of a man drilling into a cylindrical UAP has just escalated into one of the most unsettling cases in recent memory. What began as a reckless experiment in a sparse basement has transformed into a deeply disturbing enigma. It started quietly on a small YouTube channel. A man known only as James presented a mysterious, polished silver cylinder, heavy and inert, resting on 2 Army surplus ammo cans in a bare cinder block room. The tube was capped at each end, its surface etched with strange, deliberate markings, a star-like emblem and cryptic geometric symbols that seemed functional, not decorative. James claimed he had found it half buried in a remote desert after tracking odd flashes in the night sky. And from the beginning, an aura of unease clung to the object. In subsequent updates, the atmosphere grew palpably darker. James reported headaches and nausea that intensified the longer he stayed near the cylinder. He noted its metal surface remained unnaturally warm, as if some internal process were active. A single bare bulb cast a harsh yellow light, its long shadows making the object seem impossibly out of place, an artifact of precision machining housed in a crude basement. Then, the environment itself began to rebel. In one clip, the ceiling bulb above the cylinder flickered, dimmed, and died. James replaced it, only for the new one to fail as well. Soon, he was illuminating the room with a portable light, describing how electronics faltered and batteries drained rapidly in its presence. To those familiar with UAP lore, this was a classic signature, pervasive electronic interference. Despite his fear, James was compelled to return, his fascination overriding his dread. A close-up video revealed the cylinder was not a smooth pressure tank. It had subtle seams, jagged right angles, and shallow channels suggesting internal compartments. The etchings were uneven, like coded labels scratched by hand. Skeptics called it a fake because of these flaws, while others argued this was exactly how a clandestine, off-books prototype would look, hand-finished and never meant for public display. The stakes were raised when James shared a still frame, allegedly captured earlier, showing the cylinder in flight over the desert, a glowing, rod-like streak of light. It resembled other rods reported globally, hinting that this was not an inert relic, but a component of a functioning device. The situation reached a fever pitch with James's announcement of a live stream. He would drill into the cylinder. Rumors swirled that the object was dangerous, perhaps nuclear, perhaps something far stranger. On camera, his voice trembled as he explained he felt a duty to discover the truth, fearing that if he didn't, the object would be taken and hidden forever. The live format was his guarantee of authenticity. Whatever happened would be real, raw, and unedited. The stream began in the familiar basement. The cylinder sat on its ammo cans under the dim, singular bulb. James, visibly shaken, explained he had no gloves. He raised a worn, cordless drill, steadying the bit in a pre-drilled indentation to keep it from skidding. For a moment, he hesitated, his breath heavy with fear. Then he squeezed the trigger. The drill whirred, its small built-in LED casting a pale blue streak on the metal. For a second, the scene was mundane. Then everything changed. A strange, rising interference tone corrupted the audio, layered beneath the drill's motor. Simultaneously, the room's illumination shifted. Shadows faded as the concrete walls brightened, as if a powerful, unseen light had ignited off-camera. A second, static blue streak appeared on the cylinder's lower curve, unrelated to the drill's movement. Visual analysts would later determine this streak aligned perfectly with an intense, sourceless cyan glow that erupted at the far end of the room, a light matching the eerie Cherenkov radiation seen in nuclear reactors, now blazing freely in open air. As this unearthly luminescence bloomed, James let out a sound that chilled viewers to bone, a raw, involuntary cry of pure shock and terror. His words fractured into panic fragments. The drill clattered away. The camera lurched violently, and a silhouette was seen collapsing toward the floor before the screen cut to black. But the stream did not end. For over 20 minutes, the feed showed only darkness, interspersed with shimmering patterns and rhythmic pulses of bluish-white light, too steady and smooth to be random. Audio experts, enhancing the track later, detected a deep mechanical hum punctuated by metallic thuds, as if heavy objects were resonating under an immense load. There was no sign of James, only the pulsating glow and the ominous hum. Finally, the blue light swelled to a blinding peak and faded. The feed died abruptly, as if the device itself had been killed by the same force that warped the room. Because of Platform Auto Archive's live streams, the video remained on James's channel, a ghostly testament to an event its creator could not conclude. This detail was critical. A complex hoax would require sophisticated software and a professional studio, resources far beyond James's modest, low-tech presentation. His channel was not monetized. He sought no fame or profit. The motives for deception were absent. The phenomena echoed classic high-strangeness UAP reports. The prior EM interference, the physiological effects, the object's seamless design. The cylinder fit the profile of a smaller probe associated with larger craft. In the aftermath, James vanished. His channel fell silent. Rumors circulated of a man hospitalized with convulsions and radiation sickness, but nothing was confirmed. The lack of an official response itself felt telling, suggesting a possible containment and information blackout by specialized units. The James cylinder incident has become a defining case. It marries the raw authenticity of a shaky phone camera with the profound mystery of unknown physics. It demonstrates that the unknown doesn't always appear as distant lights in the sky. Sometimes it waits in a dusty basement, challenging one curious individual with a drill to break its seal. On January 29th, a man took to Reddit to share an astonishing encounter, providing what may be some of the clearest UFO footage ever recorded. His mission was straightforward: to capture high-quality 4K video of an unidentified flying object. Armed with a powerful Nikon P1000 camera, he ventured to South Downs National Park in southern England to meet an individual who claimed the extraordinary ability to summon a UFO. What followed was a display that defied all conventional explanation. Hovering in the vast sky was a silver, orb-shaped object moving with controlled, intelligent precision. It was no balloon or piece of debris. The witness described how the UFO dropped, ascended, and shifted sideways in a manner completely inconsistent with known aerodynamics. He documented the event for 20 minutes using both his Nikon and iPhone, creating multiple verifiable recordings. The most compelling evidence was its behavior against the elements. With a reported wind speed of 10 miles per hour, any ordinary object would have drifted miles away. Calculations showed it should have traveled at least 2.17 miles in 13 minutes. Yet, this orb held its position, stationary and unaffected by the natural forces that govern everything else in the sky. This single fact ruled out weather balloons, drones, or airborne debris. The resulting footage is a game changer in a field often plagued by blurry, inconclusive evidence. The clarity is exceptional, revealing a solid, metallic sphere exhibiting purposeful motion. This sighting follows a historical pattern of orb-like objects reported by pilots and military personnel for decades, even centuries, described as Foo Fighters during World War II. The continuity of these reports, now backed by high-definition evidence, strengthens the case that these are genuine anomalous phenomena. The location adds another layer of intrigue. South Downs National Park is a remote, open landscape with minimal light pollution or air traffic, reducing the likelihood of misidentification. The involvement of an individual who claims summoning abilities raises profound questions about the nature of these objects and their potential interaction with human consciousness. This event is part of a new era in UAP documentation. The democratization of advanced technology, like the Nikon P1000 with its 125x optical zoom, is stripping away the old skeptic's refrain of just blurry videos. We are now entering a phase where the evidence is becoming too clear, too detailed, and too persistent to ignore. The South Downs orb is not an isolated blur. It is a sharp, focused data point in a growing catalog of mystery, forcing a reluctant world to look up and question what else shares our sky. The mystery of the interstellar visitor known as Oumuamua has evolved into one of the most profound astronomical puzzles of our time. As of November 15th, 2025, new imagery from Thayasak Talawang 0.26-meter telescope in Thailand confirms the object still displays a striking anti-tail, a feature that defies conventional comet behavior and continues to challenge our understanding of celestial mechanics. This is no ordinary solar system comet. Oumuamua is an interstellar traveler, and its anomalous behavior cannot be explained by the rules governing comets from our own Oort cloud or Kuiper belt. Its very existence demands new physics. One leading natural theory posits that this sunward-pointing spike is composed of enormous dust particles, each roughly 100 micrometers in size. These would be 1 million times more massive than the fine, sun-scattering dust of a typical comet. The physics is a battle of scales. While a particle's surface area increases with the square of its size, its mass increases with the cube. This gives these proposed giant grains 100 times less surface area relative to their mass, making them stubbornly resistant to the sun's radiation pressure. Instead of being blown outward into a brilliant tail, they lag behind, clustering near the body to form the enigmatic anti-tail. If this is correct, then Oumuamua must be shedding these colossal particles at a rate 100 times greater than normal cometary dust to achieve the observed brightness, a furious and unexplained mass loss. Another theory ventures beyond dust, suggesting the anti-tail is a fleeting spectacle of exotic ice fragments. As an interstellar object, its composition could be utterly alien. These hypothetical ices might scatter sunlight for just a moment before vaporizing the solar heat, vanishing so quickly they never travel far enough to be swept into a traditional tail. This would create a temporary, sunward-pointing structure born of unfamiliar thermodynamics. Then, there is the more speculative possibility, the one that emerges when natural explanations strain at their limits. Some astronomers have dared to suggest the anti-tail is not a natural phenomenon at all, but the product of directed jets or thrusters. To carve through 1 million kilometers of turbulent solar wind, these would need to be highly collimated and powerful, producing outflow speeds measured in kilometers per second, far exceeding the gentle 100 meter per second pace of natural outgassing. Future spectroscopic data, measuring the velocity of these particles, will be the key to distinguishing between a curious act of nature and a deliberate act of technology. The plot thickened dramatically when a NASA insider, operating under the pseudonym Deep Signal 88, leaked a memo that instantly went viral across the hidden corners of the web. Marked NASA Internal, for eyes only, the document detailed alarming anomalies surrounding the object once publicly designated as Comet Atlas. The leaker's opening statement was unequivocal. The object is not natural. According to the leak, NASA internally classifies the body as Class 7, a category reserved for phenomena beyond traditional understanding. The memo allegedly instructed personnel to contain the narrative, aligning all public communication to the standard cometary disintegration protocol. The public, it stressed, could not be allowed to know the truth. The document contained shocking admissions. The Deep Space Network had recorded an anomaly designated Transmission 411C, and there were 17 days until first major orbital deviation, a clear indication the object was about to move in ways impossible for a natural celestial body. The leaker warned their account would be erased, making them untraceable. The memo, dated August 2nd, 2025, and requiring Level 5 clearance, was summarized starkly. The object exhibits accelerated properties inconsistent with Newtonian predictions. Preliminary analysis indicated non-gravitational influences of unknown origin. Surface scans suggested a composition of highly reflective composite material and spectral anomalies, traits of artificial construction, not a disintegrating ice ball. The mandated action items were chilling. Public discussion was to be suspended outside the scripted disintegration narrative. Unauthorized information was to be neutralized under operational security directives. The memo's most disturbing conclusion stated the object appears to be under active vector control, language used for guided craft, not space debris. This leak fundamentally recontextualizes Oumuamua. It is no longer a mere interstellar oddity, but a potential artificial construct of immense scale. Is it a probe? A vessel? The implications are staggering, suggesting humanity is not alone and that advanced intelligence is already operating within our solar system. The 17-day countdown to an undeniable orbital shift hinted that the truth might soon force its way into the open, despite institutional efforts to suppress it. This internal narrative clash is mirrored in the public scientific debate. While over 200 scientists label the object a comet, prominent Harvard physicist Avi Loeb remains a vocal skeptic. He points to its lack of a visible tail and, more critically, a complete absence of gas emissions. Highly unusual for a comet. Loeb highlights its precise retrograde orbit, an alignment he calls too uncanny to ignore. To quantify his suspicion, Loeb introduced the Loeb scale, rating the object a 6 out of 10 for potential artificial origin. He has proposed a daring hypothesis. Oumuamua could be an interstellar mothership deploying smaller probes. Using a reverse orbit maneuver at perihelion, these probes could slow down and be strategically aimed at Earth, arriving between November 21st and December 5th, 2025, an approach shielded from our view by the sun. The scientific establishment has pushed back. Astronomer Chris Lintott of Oxford dismissed Loeb's theories as implausible distractions. Yet, data supports Loeb's skepticism. Spectroscopic studies have failed to detect the atomic or molecular gases typical of a cometary coma. Undaunted, Loeb had proposed a daring intercept mission using NASA's Juno spacecraft, framing it as an unprecedented chance for interstellar archaeology. Beyond the science, he warns that Earth is woefully unprepared, calling for global task forces to plan for either a welcoming or defensive outcome. He invokes a Pascalian wager. Even if the chance is small, the consequences of being wrong about an artificial object are so vast that investigation and preparation are the only rational paths. As this cosmic drama unfolds in the heavens, a parallel mystery has emerged on Earth, discovered in the vast, silent expanse of the Sahara Desert. A keen-eyed individual, scouring Google Earth, found it, a flawless black cube, stark against the golden sands. But this was no static ruin. Over time, the observer watched in astonishment as the cube moved, traversing the dunes with purposeful, intentional motion. The desert itself provides a perfect cloak for such mysteries. Its remoteness, extreme environment, and lack of surveillance infrastructure make it an ideal laboratory for operations far from public scrutiny. The Sahara, a sprawling repository of ancient secrets, has once again proven its capacity to conceal modern enigmas. The moving black cube stands as a silent, shifting sentinel, a terrestrial mystery echoing the celestial one, both demanding an answer we have yet to find. When Dennis Asperg appears on camera, he carries the quiet, sober demeanor of a man who has spent a lifetime confronting the practical realities of the deep sea, not the flamboyance of someone chasing fame. It is this measured credibility that makes his latest update on the Baltic Sea anomaly so electrifying. For the first time, he is breaking his long-held silence, revealing details once confined to private conversations. The unsettling presence of Navy vessels, impossible temperature plunges, veteran divers reporting a structure that seemed to breathe, and a groundbreaking new collaboration with astronomer Dr. Beatrice Villarroel that may have changed everything. To grasp the weight of these revelations, one must return to the beginning. In June 2011, Dennis, alongside Peter Lindbergh and their Swedish OceanX team, was on a routine sonar sweep of the northern Baltic Sea, hunting for century-old shipwrecks. Instead of timber and cannons, their screens resolve the outline of something utterly alien, a massive, disc-shaped formation resting on the seabed. Later measurements would define it as a 60-meter diameter plate, 3 to 4 meters thick, perched atop a 9-meter pillar of seafloor, standing apart from the surrounding abyssal plain. From the start, the formation defied geology. It had a rough, granite-like exterior, yet it did not emerge from the bedrock. It appeared to be set upon a base, detached from the seabed itself. Follow-up expeditions revealed features that chilled the experienced crew: sharp, right-angled edges, lineations resembling stairways, and a circular opening that looked like an entrance, not an erosion scar. Stones on its surface seemed deliberately placed, not randomly scattered by glaciers. Then came the technical disturbances. When their vessel passed directly over the site, electronics would fail. Satellite phones died, navigation systems glitched, and normal function only returned once they had moved 200 meters away. On a later mission, a remotely operated vehicle sent to inspect the structure had its compass spin wildly, its tether repeatedly snagging on unseen protrusions. The anomaly was not just a strange shape. It was an active, disruptive presence. What Dennis reveals now adds profound new layers. Shortly after the discovery went public, he was contacted by Navy officials, not with casual curiosity, but with pointed, urgent inquiries. Soon, naval vessels were observed maneuvering near the coordinates. On the open ocean, such deployments are costly and deliberate. Their presence signaled that this was not being treated as a mere rock by those tasked with security. He also shares a harrowing account of his most experienced diver, a man who had faced the depths countless times. When this diver surfaced from his close-range inspection, he was visibly shaken. He described seeing fine sediment being rhythmically drawn into and expelled from surface openings, a slow, steady pulse like mechanical respiration. Simultaneously, his instruments recorded a shocking phenomenon. The water temperature around the structure plummeted to near freezing, a physical impossibility in the surrounding, warmer waters. Dennis emphasizes a critical, often overlooked detail. The object is definitively not fused with the seabed. It sits upon a separate base. This single fact dismantles the early, dismissive theories of a glacial erratic. The divers saw what sonar suggested: right-angled corridors, cut-like shapes, and passages leading into the mass, giving the undeniable impression of a constructed interior. Another pattern has become undeniable over the years. Storms seem to gather and concentrate directly above the anomaly. For seasoned mariners who track weather meticulously, the repeated overlap between its coordinates and intense electrical activity is not a coincidence. Combined with the EM interference, a picture emerges of a complex energy field interacting with the environment. The most pivotal new development is a collaboration with Dr. Beatrice Villarroel, an astronomer renowned for her work in searching for non-human intelligence through anomalous celestial phenomena. This partnership bridges the abyssal trench with the cosmos. Dennis provides a raw, first-hand data. Dr. Villarroel provides the analytical framework to detect patterns of artificiality or technological signature. While Dennis has not yet disclosed their full findings, His tone is transformative. When a man of his caution says he is nearly speechless, it implies their analysis has crossed a threshold. He hints at consistencies in the data, geometric, energetic, or behavioral, that are profoundly difficult to reconcile with any known natural structure. The reaction to his update has been a firestorm across social media. Longtime followers of the anomaly feel a surge of vindication. Theorists speculate they may have identified artificial geometry beneath the sediment, internal machinery, or unique energy missions matching astrophysical signatures for advanced technology. Even the more cautious concede that Dennis would not make such an emotionally charged statement if he still believed it was just an odd rock. This renewed attention also revives old questions about the resistance and limited funding the anomaly has faced. The early presence of official ships, combined with the site's disruptive nature, fuels speculation that information has been quietly sequestered from public view. For Dennis Asperg, this is more than a mystery. It is a decade-long responsibility. His new revelations are not casual, but a deliberate choice, perhaps driven by the validation of a respected scientist and a sense that the world is finally ready to hear more. His calm demeanor suggests he now sees the anomaly not as a curiosity, but as a keystone in a much larger story about our planet's hidden history and the possible presence of other intelligences. And so it rests 90 meters down, a silent, disc-shaped sentinel on its seabed pillar. Above it, storms still gather. Lightning forks through the sky. Waves pass unknowingly, and on land, the data, sonar maps, video logs, and an astronomer's analysis holds the clues that have left a hardened deep-sea explorer searching for words. The story that began with a blip on a sonar screen in 2011 has evolved into a collaboration spanning from the ocean floor to the stars, and if Dennis Asperg's sober intensity is any indicator, the most incredible chapters are yet to be written. In the vast, horizonless expanse of the ocean, where human understanding recedes into the depths, extraordinary events occasionally pierce the mundane, challenging our perception of reality. One such incident occurred on July 20th, 2022, when Mr. Harrison, a passenger aboard the cruise ship Iona bound for Norway, witnessed a spectacle that would transform a tranquil voyage into an enduring enigma. It was 10:15 in the morning under clear skies. As the ship glided through the North Atlantic, Mr. Harrison sat on his balcony overlooking the stern. His peace was shattered as his attention was drawn to the distance, where a series of strange objects began their ascent from the water. He seized his phone, documenting a scene of breathtaking strangeness. 5 objects, rectangular, spherical, and oval in shape, rose in a coordinated, silent ballet. They moved with a smooth, deliberate motion that defied the wind and waves. The photographs are stark and compelling. The objects, now clear in the frame, hover above the water. Crucially, a photo taken just 30 seconds earlier shows nothing but empty ocean. There are no ships, no oil rigs, no structures of any kind on the horizon. Only the vast, encompassing sea. When he shared his footage, the digital world erupted with a familiar mix of awe and skepticism. Some proposed natural explanations like methane hydrate bubbles, though these could not account for the object's large, structure forms or their controlled descent. Others speculated about advanced, clandestine military technology. The most profound and perhaps inescapable explanation was also the most fantastic, that these were unidentified submerged objects, USOs, a phenomenon with a long and shadowy history. The concept of USOs is not new. For centuries, sailors' logs and maritime folklore have whispered of strange lights and fast-moving shapes beneath the waves. In the modern era, these accounts have been bolstered by hard data. The U.S. Navy has documented numerous classified encounters, and advanced sonar systems have repeatedly tracked objects demonstrating impossible capabilities. Supersonic speeds underwater, instantaneous direction changes, and seamless transitions between sea and air. The theories to explain them are as deep and murky as their domain. They could represent bleeding-edge terrestrial technology, a secret project of a nation or corporation, though their performance characteristics defy known physics. Another, more cosmic theory posits they are of extraterrestrial origin. A third, more pragmatic idea suggests they are natural phenomena, volcanic activity, or bioluminescence, though this often fails to explain the structured, intelligent behavior observed. Mr. Harrison's sighting underscores a humbling truth. Over 70% of our planet is a vast, unexplored frontier. His encounter highlights the critical importance of maintaining scientific curiosity in the face of the unexplained. Dismissing such events as mere anomalies closes the door on discovery, whether the ultimate answer lies in unknown natural processes, human invention, or something entirely other. The frequent occurrence of such phenomena near oceans has led to compelling hypotheses. Perhaps these objects use the immense hidden depths as a base, offering perfect concealment and a stable environment. They could be engaged in resource extraction, harvesting minerals from the water itself. Or they may be scientific probes, studying Earth's biosphere and humanity with the same detached curiosity with which we study other planets. This idea of probes is particularly resonant. Humanity itself dispatches robotic explorers across the solar system. Is it so difficult to imagine a more advanced civilization doing the same across interstellar distances? The common characteristics of UFOs/USOs, their advanced maneuverability, lack of visible life support, and apparent focus on surveillance, align perfectly with the profile of an autonomous, self-sufficient probe on a long-term mission of discovery. The implications are staggering. If these objects are probes, the technology they represent, propulsion systems that ignore inertia, materials that withstand immense pressures, could revolutionize human civilization. Their presence implies we are not alone, and that we are the subject of a study whose ultimate purpose remains a profound and unsettling mystery. The ocean, it seems, is not just a place of hidden landscapes, but a potential crossroads for cosmic traffic. In recent weeks, a remarkable scientific breakthrough at the Durupınar site in eastern Turkey has captivated the world, offering what may be the most compelling evidence yet for the existence of Noah's Arkansas. An international team of researchers, leveraging artificial intelligence and advanced geological scanning, has announced the discovery of an ancient, ark-like structure buried deep beneath the mountain, a finding that has reignited the global debate surrounding the biblical flood and the vessel of legend. For decades, the Durupınar Formation, with its distinct boat-shaped outline etched into the mountainside, has been a beacon for believers and a puzzle for skeptics. Since its discovery in mid-century aerial photographs, the site has drawn countless expeditions, each adding fragments to the mystery, yet none possessing the technological precision required for a definitive conclusion. Now, that has changed. The recent breakthrough emerged when researchers fed high-resolution geological data, ground-penetrating radar, and thermal imagery into a sophisticated AI system designed to detect subterranean anomalies. The results were staggering. The analysis revealed a network of wooden structures arranged in a compartmentalized pattern, eerily consistent with ancient descriptions of the ark's internal layout. Scientists, who had expected to find only natural geologic formations, were confronted with evidence of what appears to be a meticulously constructed, human-made vessel. Further investigation uncovered traces of organic material embedded within the formation. Radiocarbon dating placed this material at over 4,800 years old, aligning strikingly with the traditional timeline of the Great Flood. While the team cautions that dating alone cannot confirm the structure's identity, the correlation between the physical evidence and the historical narrative adds immense weight to their claims. This is not the first time Durupınar has seized international attention. In 2010, a team of Chinese and Turkish researchers held a press conference in Hong Kong to announce the discovery of wooden structures at the site, a claim met with both fervent excitement and scientific caution. At the time, the limitations of available technology prevented a deeper probe. The integration of AI has now shattered those limitations, using predictive modeling and deep learning to distinguish natural sediment layers from what appears to be intentional, artificial construction. Despite the mounting evidence, a healthy skepticism persists within the scientific community. Critics point to the potential for geological pareidolia, the tendency to see patterns in random formations, and the ever-present risk of sample contamination. However, the objective, data-driven nature of the AI analysis, which independently identified symmetrical lines and spatial layouts inconsistent with natural erosion, makes this discovery increasingly difficult to dismiss. Beyond the scientific implications, the discovery touches a profound cultural and historical nerve. The flood narrative is a shared memory echoed across countless civilizations. The potential that physical remains of the Ark exist challenges the very line between myth and history. For believers, it is a powerful affirmation of faith. For skeptics, a call to re-examine one of humanity's oldest stories with modern rigor. As plans for deeper excavation and expanded AI modeling move forward, the world watches, reminded that our planet still holds profound secrets, waiting for the right moment and the right technology to reveal a truth that could rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. The mystery of Peru's Nazca mummies is deepened with a finding that seems to defy conventional biology: peculiar, straight-line fingerprints and toe prints that experts assert are non-human. Since their unviolation to Mexico's Congress last year by veteran journalist and UFO researcher Jamie Mawson, these diminutive, three-fingered specimens have been the subject of intense global scrutiny. A former Colorado prosecutor, now a defense attorney, has analyzed more than 6 of these specimens with the aid of 3 independent U.S. forensic medical examiners. Their focus has been the mummy known as Maria. According to U.S. Department of Justice's fingerprint sourcebook, the science of friction ridge skin analysis dates back to 300 BC in China, with modern forensics categorizing patterns into arches, loops, and whorls. Maria's prints conform to none of these. The examiners observed primarily straight epidermal ridges, a pattern unmatched in any known human record. Mawson and his colleagues have faced a tumultuous year advocating for scientific inquiry, clashing repeatedly with Peru's Ministry of Culture. The situation has escalated into a $300 million lawsuit, with investigators alleging that Peruvian authorities have hindered their work with insults and discreditation campaigns rather than offering support. A meticulous examination of the hands revealed intricate patterns of distinct ridges that elude any established human archetype, suggesting a potential divergence in evolutionary lineage or a wholly distinct origin. The debate intensified when Peruvian authorities released a new image of a specimen featuring a metallic implant embedded in its neck. This discovery sparked a surge of speculation, with theories ranging from the implant being a tracking or communication device to evidence of clandestine experimentation. The scientific analysis of these beings has been rigorous. At an exhibition titled The Dried Beings of Nazca, an Ancestral Mystery, at the Los Angeles County Museum of Natural History, researchers presented findings from advanced DNA analysis, CT scans, and radiocarbon dating. The specimens, preserved in diatomaceous earth, a white powder of aquatic fossils that desiccates and perfectly preserves tissue, were dated to approximately 1,000 years old. The most authoritative analysis to date was presented by Lieutenant Commander Jose de Jesus Zales Benitez, a forensic specialist with impeccable credentials, including a master's degree in forensic medicine and a diploma in aerospace medicine. His testimony, based on a battery of tests including tomography and microscopic analysis, was unequivocal. He affirmed that the bodies, approximately 60 centimeters long, possess a biological, non-human anatomy. Key findings include asterisk a light, bird-like bone structure with perfect joint harmony, asterisk a large, pneumatized skull with a vast intracranial cavity, suggesting a large brain, asterisk a neck that connects to the middle of the skull base, unlike any primate, with vertebrae allowing for retractable function, asterisk a circular rib cage in the presence of 3 millimetric eggs within the abdomen, confirming a biological, reproductive creature, asterisk tridactyl hands and feet, whose phalanges connect directly to the forearm bones, with no carpal or tarsal bones, asterisk the presence of straight, horizontally linear fingerprints, deemed impossible to falsify. The presence of seamlessly integrated metal implants in some specimens further complicates the mystery. Lieutenant Commander Zales Benitez concluded, "I can affirm that these bodies are not related to human beings." This assertion, backed by rigorous scientific protocol, challenges our understanding of biology, history, and humanity's place in the cosmos, forcing a profound reevaluation of what we believe is possible. The investigation into the enigmatic Beagler sphere has entered a critical new phase. Researcher Gonzalo Chavez announced this week that he facilitated direct access to the object for a team of physicists and multidisciplinary scientists, a pivotal moment in the ongoing study. After hours of meticulous examination, scrutinizing its unusual engravings, seamless metallic structure, and inexplicable internal components, the group reached a unanimous conclusion. In a message to Chavez, they confirmed their shared conviction. The sphere is not an artistic fabrication or a simple artifact, but a genuine technological device of unknown origin, whose complexity demands serious scientific inquiry. This collective assessment has solidified the growing belief that the Beagler sphere represents one of the most compelling physical mysteries of the modern era. The stakes of this discovery were immediately underscored by Dr. Stephen Greer, who revealed a startling development. Shortly after new information about the sphere was made public, a group of unidentified individuals, dressed as officials, attempted to seize the object. Their arrival was sudden and unannounced, their behavior suggesting they operated under clandestine instructions. Witnesses reported they tried to remove the sphere without presenting clear identification, an incident that has fueled concerns of a deliberate, high-level effort to conceal its true significance. In a public address from Mexico City, Dr. Greer stated, "We have just been notified by Jamie Mawson that there was an attempt by fake policemen to enter the vault where this Beagler sphere is stored. We have notified security. The other risk here is that we have taken specific samples that will be tested in a state-of-the-art lab to prove whether the metal and other components are of Earth or outer space origin." He assured the public that law enforcement have been alerted and that any further interference will be met with accountability. The mystery of the Beagler sphere stands as one of the most extraordinary technological enigmas ever recovered. Its story began on March 2nd, 2025, when witnesses in Bugle, Colombia, watched in disbelief as the object maneuvered through the sky. It glided, accelerated, hovered, and shifted direction with a precision that defied all known principles of aerodynamics. Its flight was abruptly ended when it struck a power cable, seemingly destabilizing an electromagnetic flight system, and spiraled to the ground. When recovered, it was intact, cool to the touch, and utterly alien to modern engineering. Initial examinations were staggering. The sphere was a seamless, singular unit with no screws, seams, or weld lines. Its surface reflected light, like a dull metal, yet possessed an unexpected pliability. Most baffling was its weight, a mere 4 pounds, far too light for its size, immediately suggesting some form of gravitational manipulation. The most profound revelations, however, lay within. Using advanced scanning technology, a research team from the National Autonomous University of Mexico began analyzing its internal architecture. By September 2025, their findings were undeniable. Inside was a labyrinth of microscopic, fiber optic-like wiring, branching out to 3 distinct layers of metal-like casing. At the very center lay a nucleus, dubbed a chip, surrounded by 18 smaller microspheres arranged in a perfect geometric configuration, resembling nodes in a sophisticated communication or intelligence network. Then came the radiocarbon dating. Embedded within the sphere's layers was an organic resin. After meticulous preparation, accelerator mass spectrometry delivered an astonishing result. The resin was over 12,000 years old. This date places the sphere's origin in the late Ice Age, a time when humanity existed in scattered hunter-gatherer tribes, utterly incapable of the metallurgy and microengineering the object displays. The implications are earth-shattering. This technology predates the pyramids, Mesopotamia, and widespread agriculture. For many researchers, the conclusion is inescapable. The object is not of human origin. Further mysteries compounded the case. The grass at the impact site was instantly dehydrated, stripped of moisture without any sign of burning, a phenomenon researchers theorize could be caused by an intense concentration of negatively charged particles. Even more astonishing, the sphere began to fluctuate in weight, shifting from its initial 4 pounds to 16, then 20, and finally settling at 22 pounds, all without changing volume. This suggests a controlled manipulation of gravitational fields, a cornerstone of an advanced propulsion system. Is it an extraterrestrial probe, part of a network observing Earth? Or is it a relic from a forgotten, advanced human civilization erased by time and cataclysm? While skeptics like Dr. Julia Mossbridge have suggested it could be an elaborate art piece, the consistent, verifiable scientific data from independent engineers makes dismissal increasingly difficult. The Beagler sphere remains a tangible, silent sentinel, challenging the very foundations of archaeology, physics, and human history. In an event that merges the ancient with the anomalous, a series of vivid photographs and videos have surfaced, capturing a glowing, unidentified flying object hovering silently above the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The images, clear and compelling, show a bright, luminous orb suspended over one of the most spiritually charged locations on Earth, instantly igniting a firestorm of global speculation. The Dome of the Rock is not just an architectural marvel. It is a nexus of faith for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, revered as the site of the Prophet Muhammad's ascension to heaven. The appearance of mysterious, silent craft over this epicenter of divine history carries a symbolism that resonates deeply. For many, it is interpreted as a divine sign or celestial message. For others, it is compelling evidence of extraterrestrial interest in humanity's most sacred sites. What sets this sighting apart is the evidence's quality. Multiple witnesses, from different vantage points, captured clear images and video of the stationary, bright white orb against the night sky. The object hovered for several minutes before vanishing abruptly. This level of consistent, high-quality documentation makes the usual explanations, drones, aircraft, or camera artifacts, feel insufficient to many observers. This is not an isolated incident. Jerusalem, a city layered with millennia of prophecy and mystery, has a history of such sightings. One of the most famous occurred in January 2011, when nearly identical footage emerged of a luminous object descending over the Dome of the Rock, hovering, and then shooting upward at impossible speed. These recurring events have led researchers to ponder a profound connection. Could the UFO phenomenon and humanity's spiritual history be intertwined? This idea invites a radical re-examination of the past. For decades, theorists have proposed that many biblical events, described in the language of divinity and miracle, might have been encounters with advanced technology. The lack of scientific vocabulary would have led ancient witnesses to interpret advanced craft and beings through the only lens they had, that of angels, chariots of fire, and visions of God. Nowhere is this theory more compellingly applied than to the vision of the prophet Ezekiel. Around 600 BCE, by the Kebar River in Babylon, Ezekiel described a breathtaking spectacle, a great whirlwind from the north, a cloud with flashing fire and brilliant light. From it emerged 4 living creatures with 4 faces and 4 wings. Beneath them were wheels within wheels, full of eyes that could move in any direction without turning. The whole vision was accompanied by a sound like the noise of great waters or the voice of the Almighty. While traditionally a cornerstone of religious revelation, modern ufology sees a startlingly different narrative. The wheels within wheels resemble a complex, gyroscopic landing craft. The living creatures could be described robotic entities or even the pilots of a vessel. The intense light and overwhelming sound are hallmarks of many modern UFO reports. Ezekiel was a prophet, not a physicist. Faced with such a spectacle, he would have inevitably framed it in the spiritual terms of his world. The recent sighting over the Dome of the Rock and the ancient account of Ezekiel may be threads of the same enduring mystery. Whether one sees a divine sign, an extraterrestrial visitation, or a natural phenomenon, these events challenge our understanding of reality. They suggest that the sky above our most holy places has been a stage for the unexplained for millennia, and that the line between the spiritual and the extraterrestrial may be far thinner than we have ever dared to believe. What began as a routine night of astrophotography has yielded an image that is sending shockwaves through the community of amateur astronomers. On the morning of November 12th, an astronomer, his lens trained on the interstellar visitor Oumuamua, captured a series of long exposure shots. It was only upon reviewing the images later that evening that he discovered the true anomaly. Nestled within the star field, clear and undeniable, was a glowing diamond-shaped object. The photograph, shared on a Facebook page dedicated to anomalous phenomena, instantly went viral. Viewers were captivated by the object's stark, geometric perfection, a luminous diamond-like craft with solid, sharply defined outline and perfect symmetry. This was no smudge, lens flare, or photographic artifact. It was a structure. As researchers analyzed the image, the implications grew. For the object to be captured with such clarity against the backdrop of infinity, it had to be immense. Its placement was even more telling. It was positioned precisely near the projected path of Oumuamua. This was no cosmic coincidence. It suggested a deliberate formation, as if this diamond-shaped sentinel was escorting or observing the interstellar traveler. The object's structure defied natural explanation. Natural celestial bodies, asteroids, comets, are irregular, fractured, and asymmetric. This object was a paradigm of engineered precision. Clear edges, a central axis, and a uniform, purposeful glow. Its light emanated from several symmetrically arranged points, resembling navigational lights or energy nodes. It looked, in every respect, like a vast machine. Speculation surged that its visibility was a fluke of the long exposure. A 15 to 20-second capture can reveal what the naked eye cannot, potentially catching a faint emission from a vessel that is typically cloaked or running dark. The theory gained traction. This was an advanced vehicle, momentarily revealed, monitoring Oumuamua's passage through our solar system. The object's estimated size, based on pixel scaling, suggested a craft far larger than any human-made spacecraft. Its appearance aligned with decades of global reports describing silent, diamond-shaped UFOs. For many, this photograph was the ultimate validation, a clear, accidental capture of an intelligent craft performing its duties in the deep, a silent guardian for a traveler from the stars. For the astronomer who took the shot, a routine night had transformed into a moment of profound, universe-altering discovery. In the final month of his life, Dr. Harold Malmgren, a distinguished advisor to 4 U.S. presidents, began to unburden himself of secrets that had weighed on him for decades. His most staggering revelation concerned an incident during the 1962 Bluegill Triple Prime nuclear test, part of the high-stakes Operation Dominic. According to Malmgren, who held top-secret Q clearance within the Defense Atomic Support Agency, an unidentified object, a tag-along that had been tracking the test missile, was caught in the nuclear fireball. Temperatures that could vaporize any known material did not destroy it. Footage from the Los Alamos National Laboratory allegedly shows the object falling from the inferno intact. A second recording from Lawrence Livermore, however, shows the same moment obscured by a white triangle, suggesting a deliberate, high-level cover-up. Naval logs from that day compound the mystery, reporting the recovery of 2 strange, radioactive objects from the ocean, a black ball and a green tube, neither which corresponded to any test equipment. This pointed to a full-scale crash retrieval operation. Malmgren's disclosures went deeper still. He recounted a meeting with Lawrence Guise, a senior official at the Atomic Energy Commission and an early deputy administrator at DARPA. On Guise's desk were physical fragments from the recovered object. When Malmgren touched them, he experienced an auditory phenomenon. He heard voices, though no one spoke. Guise indicated this was an expected property of the material, a form of consciousness interactive technology. This bizarre encounter was a prelude to an even more significant induction. Malmgren was brought into a clandestine circle by Richard Bissell, the formidable CIA deputy director and a chief architect of covert Cold War operations. Bissell told the young advisor, "You are the youngest of the whiz kids. I am going to tell you things because someone needs to know this in the future, and you'll still be around." For months, they met weekly, with Bissell imparting knowledge of reverse engineering programs and non-terrestrial materials, ensuring that at least one future presidential advisor would know the truth. Malmgren's testimony paints a picture of a government within a government, where agencies like the AEC, DARPA, and the CIA controlled access to the nation's most profound secret using the Atomic Energy Act as a shield, even from sitting presidents. His credibility, his high-level access, and the corroborating documents, including modern FOIA releases showing agencies like the National Reconnaissance Office actively tracking anomalous aerospace phenomena, lend immense weight to his deathbed testimony. It is the story of a man who carried the ultimate secret, that we are not alone and that for decades a select few have known and have been trying to understand technology not of this world. In recent days, our planet has been bathed in the otherworldly glow of a powerful solar storm, its charged particles painting the skies with one of the most vivid auroral displays in years. But amidst the celestial fireworks, a single photograph from California has captured something far more enigmatic than the northern lights themselves. A witness, stepping outside her quiet home, aimed her camera at the shimmering green bands. It was only upon reviewing the images that she saw it, a shape flickering in the upper portion of the frame, partially veiled by the auroral haze. It was not a cloud or a star. It was geometric, defined by edges too precise, too angular to be natural. Zooming in, a chill of recognition ran through her. It was a large black triangle, its surface seeming to distort the very air around it, phasing in and out of the visible spectrum like a glitch in reality. The object emitted no light, holding a faint, ghostly outline silhouetted against a glowing sky. It hung with an unsettling, absolute stillness, a silent, observing sentinel. The moment she called her husband and they returned, it was gone, vanished without a trace. When she shared the image online, it ignited immediate recognition. This was the iconic Black Triangle, a craft reported for decades, known for its silent, effortless glide and an uncanny ability to disappear. The prevailing theory was as compelling as it was unsettling. The massive influx of solar energy had interfered with the craft's cloaking system, forcing a momentary, accidental reveal. The auroras, a natural wonder, had become an unwitting spotlight, illuminating a presence usually hidden in plain sight. This sighting was not an isolated case. Across the globe, a new, crystal-clear photograph emerged from England, capturing a black triangle in broad daylight. This was a radical departure. These craft are almost exclusively nocturnal. The image was staggering in its clarity, showing a structured geometric vehicle with sharp, defined edges, challenging the long-standing skeptics' refrain that all UFO evidence is blurry and inconclusive. The existence of these triangles presents a profound puzzle. If they are top-secret human projects, their behavior is illogical. Why fly these multi-billion-dollar, paradigm-shattering assets openly over populated areas, risking exposure? The secrecy required for such a program would be immense. Yet these craft appear with a nonchalance that defies any rational black-budget doctrine. Their performance characteristics only deepen the mystery. They are utterly silent, even at close range. They can hover motionless for extended periods without any visible means of support, defying the fundamental need for thrust. They enter restricted airspace with impunity, and their maneuverability, instantaneous acceleration, and right-angle turns suggest a mastery over inertia and gravity that lies far beyond our public understanding of physics. The evidence points to a technology that is not just ahead of ours, but operates on an entirely different set of principles. Whether they are extraterrestrial probes, artifacts of a hidden human breakaway civilization, or something else entirely, their continued presence in our skies is a silent, persistent challenge to our understanding of our world and our place in the cosmos. The solar storm did not just light up the atmosphere. It briefly illuminated a truth that had been hovering in the shadows all along. A newly surfaced satellite image has delivered a bombshell to the world of military and UFO analysis. A mysterious, egg-shaped object, 22 feet in length, parked openly outside a hangar at a highly classified facility of India's Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, the nation's equivalent of DARPA. The image is as clear as it is baffling. The object is seamless, a perfect ovoid with no visible wings, control surfaces, exhaust ports, or any sign of conventional propulsion. It was captured in a moment of transition, seemingly being moved into or out of a secure hangar, a fleeting exposure to the eye in the sky. The location is what elevates this from a curiosity to a potential disclosure. The DRDO is the heart of India's most sensitive defense projects, a place where secrecy is paramount. For such an anomalous object to be visible, even for a moment, suggests either a catastrophic operational security failure or something more deliberate. The object design is a known signature in global UFO reports, a sleek, egg-like form often associated with incredible maneuverability and a lack of traditional aerodynamics. Its presence at a top-tier military research facility instantly fuels two competing, equally profound theories. The first is that India, like other global powers rumored in whispered circles, is in possession of a recovered non-human vehicle and is actively engaged in a reverse engineering program, attempting to unlock its secrets for national advantage. The second theory posits that this is a staggering leap in human aerospace technology, a secret project so advanced that it renders all known aircraft obsolete. Yet, its unconventional, propulsion-less design makes it seem less like an evolution of our current technology and more like a revolution from an entirely different tree of knowledge. The silence from official channels is deafening. If this were a conventional drone or prototype, a simple denial or explanation would be expected. The absence of any statement speaks volumes, suggesting that the object, whatever it is, falls into a category beyond public discussion. This single satellite image has pulled back the curtain, if only for an instant, on a world of advanced technology and profound secrets that continues to operate just beyond the edge of our everyday reality. Dawn on the 11th of November, 2025. The sun, our life-giving star, stirred from its slumber and unleashed one of the most violent eruptions witnessed in a generation, a defining moment in the celestial dance of an active cycle. The clock read 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Without warning, a cataclysm. From the heart of a tempestuous sunspot, AR-4274, a colossal X-5.1 class solar flare tore into the void. This was not a mere flicker of light, but a stellar convulsion so immense its shock wave was instantly logged by satellites and observatories across the globe. Within minutes, Earth began to feel its sting. The outburst crowned itself the most powerful flare of the year, eclipsing all of 2025's previous events and standing as the most intense since October 2024. Classified as an R3 level radio blackout, its effect was immediate and profound. Across the sunlit hemisphere, the sky itself turned hostile to our signals. High-frequency radio communications crackled and died over Africa and Europe, plunging aviation, maritime, and emergency broadcasts into a state of disarray. For hours, operators reported only static, a direct result of our upper atmosphere being violently ionized. But this was no isolated tantrum. Sunspot AR-4274 had been a brewing storm for days, hurling a series of powerful X-class flares into the void. Just 2 days prior, an X-1.7 flare erupted. The next day, an X-1.2 followed. Each of these earlier events had already launched enormous clouds of charged particles, coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, on a trajectory toward our world. Yet the X-5.1 flare on the 11th dwarfed them all. As scientists watched, a new, far more massive ejection of plasma was clocked racing toward Earth at speeds exceeding 4 million miles per hour. The terrifying prospect now was not one, but multiple CMEs overlapping and converging upon our fragile magnetic field. The Space Weather Prediction Center issued a grave forecast. This combined solar assault was expected to strike by midday on the 12th of November. The resulting geomagnetic storm was predicted to reach G4. Severe! Such an event promised not just a breathtaking display of auroras at unusually low latitudes, but a clear and present danger to the sinews of our modern world. Satellite systems, communication networks, navigation, and the very power grids that light our cities. To understand the scale, one must know the language of solar flares. They are categorized by X-ray brightness, with each ascending class, A, B, C, M, X, representing a tenfold increase in fury. An X5 flare sits near the apex of the scale, a release of energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. Its initial blast of X-rays and extreme ultraviolet radiation crosses the 93 million mile gulf to Earth in just over 8 minutes, ionizing our atmosphere and severing radio pathways. The visual spectacle on the sun was breathtaking, but its consequences for Earth were sobering. A flare of this magnitude, accompanied by a CME, is a dual-front assault. The radiation strikes first, an instantaneous blow to communications. The slower-moving CME, a billion-ton cloud of magnetized plasma, follows, taking between 12 and 24 hours to arrive. When it does, it doesn't simply glance off our magnetic shield. It batters it, compressing it and inducing massive electrical currents that can surge to ground and along our power lines. If this geomagnetic disturbance is strong enough, it can wreak absolute havoc. These induced currents can overload and destroy transformers, the heart of our electrical infrastructure, potentially triggering regional or even continental blackouts. History offers a stark precedent. The Carrington event of 1859. Telegraph systems, the height of technology in that era, failed spectacularly, shocking operators and sparking fires in their offices. Our modern grid, a sprawling, interconnected web, is exponentially more vulnerable. Experts warn a CME of similar magnitude today could cripple power networks not for days, but for weeks or months. The true peril lies not in the initial darkness, but in the cascading collapse that would follow. Communication blackouts, water and fuel shortages, and the failure of financial and medical systems, all dependent on stable electricity. The X5.1 flare of November 2025 was a stark reminder of our technological fragility in the face of a star we cannot control. The threat is not confined to the ground. In the void of space, satellites and astronauts are naked to the onslaught of charged particles that follow a CME. These particles can pierce spacecraft shielding, frying delicate electronics, and posing severe health risks to crew. In the wake of the flare, several satellites experienced dropouts, and operators worldwide were advised to brace for impact. Even the skies we travel were not safe. Commercial flights, particularly those on high-altitude polar routes where Earth's magnetic shield is weakest, were rerouted to lower latitudes to protect both passengers and avionics from heightened radiation. As the coronal mass ejections continued their silent march, global scientific networks tracked their every move. Early models suggested a frightening possibility that multiple waves of solar material might merge in transit, amplifying their collective energy and turning a severe storm into a catastrophic one. For this reason, experts warned that the 12th of November could witness one of the most intense geomagnetic storms of the decade. Yet, from this danger, beauty is born. Auroras, the shimmering, ethereal curtains of green, red, and violet light, are the visible side of our atmosphere under solar assault. In the wake of the November 11 flare, observers from northern Europe to Canada and the northern United States readied themselves for a spectacular celestial display, nature's most vivid and paradoxical demonstration of the sun's power. This event reignited a crucial discussion about our planetary preparedness. While we can now detect these solar eruptions with precision, predicting their precise terrestrial impact remains an immense challenge. Our civilization, built on a web of satellites, long-distance power grids, and digital communication, has never been more susceptible. From a purely physical standpoint, a CME, no matter how colossal, could not destroy Earth itself. The planet's mass and gravity are far too great to be torn apart by a stellar eruption from 93 million miles away. The true danger lies not in planetary annihilation, but in the collapse of the technological ecosystem that sustains modern human civilization. A super CME would not end the world, but it could end our world, the world of global connectivity, instant information, and electrical abundance. The long-term consequences would be a descent into a new, dark age. The collapse of infrastructure could trigger food shortages, economic collapse, and social unrest. Without power, repairing the damaged grid would be a monumental, perhaps insurmountable task, potentially taking decades. Humanity would be thrown back into a pre-electric era, a shadow of its former self. The planet would endure, life would persist, but the civilization we have built could face near total collapse. In an era of advanced technology, a single, unexplained image can unravel certainty. On a seemingly ordinary day, a phantom appeared on the radar. High above Mexico, a massive, perfectly circular object materialized on weather radar screens, an anomaly so distinct and immense it defied all conventional explanation. This was no blurry smudge of atmospheric noise. It was a well-defined, colossal disk, stationary at a high altitude, its edges sharp and clear against the digital backdrop of routine weather data. The signature was first spotted by a vigilant user sifting through public radar feeds, who immediately sounded the alarm. The object was immense, spanning over 100 miles in diameter, a scale that dwarfed any known aircraft or natural phenomenon. News of the detection spread like a digital wildfire. Social media platforms buzzed with speculation, and news outlets scrambled to report on the mysterious incursion. The public imagination, ever fascinated by the unknown, was instantly captivated. A hunt for answers began. Could it be a weather balloon? The sheer size rendered that impossible. An atmospheric anomaly, a trick of the light and radar? The perfect, stable geometry argued against it. The more compelling and unsettling theory pointed to a clandestine military craft, a classified vehicle of unimaginable capability. Yet, no military authorities stepped forward to claim it. Then, of course, was the most extraordinary hypothesis, that this was precisely what appeared to be, an unidentified aerial phenomenon, a craft not of this world. Its precise, circular form and silent, stationary vigil high in the sky fueled these claims. The scientific community, traditionally skeptical, was confronted with a puzzle. Detailed, credible radar data showing a solid, dense object of immense proportions. This was not a fleeting light in the sky, but a tangible, trackable presence in sovereign airspace, demanding a serious, interdisciplinary investigation. From a security standpoint, the implications were profound. The appearance of such a massive, unidentified object was a direct challenge to national sovereignty, prompting urgent, behind-the-scenes assessments of potential threat. This incident alone could justify a massive investment in new tracking technologies and response protocols. Regardless of its origin, the object appearance on our screens was a cultural event. It reignited the global conversation about UFOs and the possibility of extraterrestrial life, adding a compelling new chapter to the growing catalog of unexplained phenomena and putting increasing pressure on governments for transparency. For Mexico, this was not an isolated event, but the latest echo in a long history of aerial mysteries. The country has been a hotspot for UFO sightings since the Great Mexican UFO Wave began in the summer of 1991. That wave was arguably ignited on the afternoon of July 11, 1991, during a total solar eclipse. As millions of Mexicans looked to the sky, thousands witnessed strange, unidentified objects drifting over Mexico City. Among the witnesses were reporter Gumaro Aragon and television journalist Jamie Mawson. The latter would later be tasked by the government to investigate another major incident. They, like many others, captured footage of a large, metallic disc moving deliberately through the eclipsed sky. When their report aired, the television station was flooded with calls from citizens who had seen the same thing, many of whom had their own corroborating videos, shot from locations miles apart. This 1991 sighting set the stage for one of the most credible military encounters on record. In the early evening of March 5, 2004, a Mexican Air Force Merlin C-26A aircraft was on a routine anti-drug surveillance mission over Campeche State. At 12,000 feet, their radar and infrared systems detected 11 unidentified objects that had suddenly materialized and were now encircling their jet. The crew, led by Major Magdaleno Jasso Nunez, was professional but unnerved. The objects executed maneuvers that defied physics, vanishing from radar at incredible speeds only to reappear instantly in a new formation. At one point, the 11 objects arranged themselves into a perfect, menacing circle around the Air Force plane. Yet, terrifyingly, the crew could see nothing with their own eyes. Their advanced sensors were tracking phantoms. Major Nunez, in a desperate attempt to gain visual contact, ordered all the aircraft's lights extinguished. In that moment of darkness, the objects vanished from the scopes and did not return. The Mexican Department of Defense launched a serious investigation, granting Jamie Mawson unprecedented access to the data and the crew. No conventional explanation was ever found. The intelligence behind the phenomena seemed to be engaging in a deliberate, controlled act of observation. The intrigue deepens with tantalizing, though unconfirmed, leak. Alleged documents suggest that following a similar massive fleet detection over the Southern Ocean on June 10, 2004, U.S. intelligence believed it was engaged in a covert, ongoing standoff with the non-human intelligence responsible for these crafts. This shadow conflict, the documents claimed, saw a significant portion of its activity focused on the icy, remote waters of the Antarctic. Whether this phantom radar return over Mexico was a secret test of human technology, a rare atmospheric trick, or something far more profound, its message was clear. Our understanding of the skies above us remains profoundly incomplete, and the ultimate truth is still out there. Deep within the sacred lands of the Navajo Dine Nation, where the Mogollon Rim carves a dramatic escarpment between desert and sky, an ancient mystery has stirred once more. This rugged expanse, known for its secluded canyons and whispering pines, has long been a backdrop for legends. And now, a single, startling photograph has given form to these tales, a potential glimpse of the elusive being known as Bigfoot. The image, captured by a local and unleashed upon the world, is both visceral and profound. It depicts a massive, humanoid figure, powerfully built and shrouded in dark, dense hair, standing upright with the carcass of a deer clutched in its arms. This is not a blurry shape in the distance, but a stark, detailed portrait of a hunter. Its release has sent a shockwave to the community of researchers and skeptics, becoming a viral sensation in online forums where it is hailed by many as the most compelling evidence to date. For the Navajo people, this is more than a cryptid. It is a Yinaldlushai, a skinwalker or similar being, a powerful entity woven into the fabric of their lore, existing in a realm beyond human comprehension. The creature is a symbol of the wild's untamable spirit. Local accounts suggest a solitary figure, maybe part of a family, a hidden tribe thriving in the rim's most impenetrable reaches. The photograph's clarity is what sets it apart. The creature's broad shoulders, muscular frame, and the tangible weight of its fur are all discernible. The detail of the hunted deer is particularly transformative. It suggests a complex, predatory intelligence, a capability for active hunting that moves beyond mere foraging. If genuine, this image does more than prove existence. It reveals behavior. Yet, from the shadows of skepticism, questions arise. Could this be a masterful digital forgery, or an elaborate hoax staged with a costume? Some argue that such clarity is itself suspect, as the creature is famously elusive. But for every doubter, there are those who point to generations of corroborating stories. Strange, guttural howls that pierce the night, colossal human-like footprints preserved in creek beds, and fleeting glimpses of towering, shadowy forms melting into the trees. The legend is alive, and this photograph has become its newest, most potent chapter. In the mist-shrouded, primordial forests of Washington state, where towering evergreens stand sentinel over forgotten streams, another hunter has been sighted. A hiker, seeking solitude, later reviewed his photographs and discovered he had captured something extraordinary, a large, dark, humanoid figure, bent at the edge of a clear, rushing stream. The creature's posture is one of intense focus, its form slightly hunched, an arm extended, as if probing the water for fish or scavenging for food. This is not a passive beast, but an active survivor. The anonymous hiker reported a feeling of being watched, a primal unease that prompted him to snap pictures blindly into the gathering gloom. He never saw the creature with his own eyes, only later discovering the spectral figure in his frame. Washington's vast, roadless wilderness has always been a heartland for Sasquatch lore, and this image fits perfectly. The creature's proportions, the long, powerful arms, the thick torso built for strength, are instantly recognizable to enthusiasts. Its apparent behavior is a key piece of the puzzle, suggesting an omnivorous, intelligent forager utilizing its environment with a skill akin to other great primates. The photograph draws immediate and haunting parallels to the iconic Patterson-Gimlin film, its subject engaged in the mundane, yet monumental, task of securing a meal. While skeptics dismiss it as a costumed hoax or a bear caught in an awkward stance, proponents see a creature of profound adaptability. The image has reignited the central question: could an intelligent, non-human primate be living undetected in these dense, wet woods, fishing the very same streams that have sustained life for millennia? Few locations are as hallowed in the world of Bigfoot research as Bluff Creek, California, the very ground where the legendary Patterson-Gimlin film was shot in 1967. Now, a new echo from the sacred ground has emerged. Just 5 miles from that historic site, a hiker has captured a photograph so clear it has left the community breathless. The image shows a large, upright figure, partially veiled by foliage but stunningly detailed. The texture of its dark fur, the powerful musculature of its limbs, and the distinct, humanoid contours of its face are all visible. This is no distant blur. It is an intimate, startlingly clear portrait. The hiker described a sudden movement in the periphery, a quick series of snaps with the camera, and then the figure was gone, vanished back into the thick undergrowth of the secluded forest. Shared across the digital landscape, the photograph was met with immediate and fervent analysis. Enthusiasts dissected its anatomy, the limb proportions that seemed just beyond human, the torso built for power. The connection to Bluff Creek's legacy is inescapable, leading many to wonder if this is a descendant of the very creature filmed over half a century ago. It feels like a continuation of the same story. Skeptics, of course, cry hoax, suggesting a person in an advanced costume in the world's most famous Bigfoot hunting ground. Yet, the raw clarity of the image and the creature's naturalistic stance present a formidable challenge to simple dismissal. It stands as a powerful testament to the enduring allure of the mystery, a modern ghost from an ancient forest. The terror of a Bigfoot encounter is often a thing of sound and sensation, a story told after the fact. But for one anonymous camper, it became a chilling visual reality, alone in a remote tent, far from any trail. He was jolted from his solitude by the sound of heavy, deliberate footsteps crunching through the forest, closing in on his camp. Frozen in fear, he slowly unzipped the tent flap, phone in hand. What he saw standing just feet away was a massive, hairy figure, its eyes catching the dim light, seeming to stare directly at him. He snapped a single, quick photo before the creature turned and melted back into the darkness. The resulting image is dark and grainy, a snapshot of pure primal fear. It shows a tall, broad-shouldered silhouette, unmistakably humanoid, covered in what appears to be shaggy fur. The figure looms, a monstrous shadow against the night. Posted anonymously online, the photo went viral, dividing audiences. For believers, it is a raw, authentic glimpse of a classic close encounter, the creature's size and posture fitting countless other reports. For skeptics, it is a perfect recipe for a hoax, dark, ambiguous, and completely unverifiable due to the poster's refusal to reveal his identity or location. Yet, its power lies in its narrative, a solitary human, a flimsy nylon barrier, and the unknown staring back from the wild. In the summer of 2024, near the slopes of Mount Rainier, a wildlife enthusiast named Mr. Harper was reviewing footage from his trail camera, expecting the usual parade of deer and raccoons. What he found instead was an image of stunning clarity, a large bipedal humanoid figure covered in dark, shaggy hair, walking purposefully through a forest clearing. The creature stood an estimated 7 feet tall, with a powerfully built frame, long arms, and a slightly cone-shaped head. The trail camera, secured in a remote location, had captured a clean, unambiguous shot. This was no blurry smudge. It was a full-body portrait of something that defied easy classification. Harper, a lifelong skeptic of the legend, was stunned into belief. The image ignited the cryptozoology community. Here was a creature whose anatomy, the proportions, the gait, the sheer mass, matched decades of eyewitness descriptions from the Pacific Northwest. Skeptics argued it could be a bear or a man in a suit, but the image's clarity made these explanations feel strained. For the first time in years, a photograph emerged that felt like evidence, prompting serious researchers to seek out the location, hoping to find tracks, hair, or any other physical proof that could turn this compelling image into a scientific discovery. The search for Bigfoot has always been a hunt for physical evidence, a bone, a hair, a footprint. Recently, a hiker in a remote forest near Mount Hood believes he may have found most intimate evidence of all, droppings. While trekking a narrow trail, he stumbled upon a mound of feces of an astonishing size, far larger than that of a bear. The droppings were cylindrical and, upon inspection, appeared to contain a mixed dye of plant material, seeds, and what looked like small bone fragments. The hiker, an experienced outdoorsman, was convinced it belonged to no known animal in the region. He documented the find with photos and GPS coordinates, and even collected a sample. His online report was met with a mix of excitement and skepticism. The composition suggested an omnivorous diet, fitting the theory that Bigfoot is an opportunistic hunter and forager. The remote location, a known hotspot for sightings, added credibility. While definitive analysis is pending, the discovery represents a gritty, unglamorous front line of cryptozoology, the hope that somewhere, even in something as mundane as scat, the truth may be hiding. Finally, in the deep woods, a social media user shared an encounter that was all sound and presence. He claimed a Bigfoot had not only seen him but had communicated. The creature, he said, picked up a stick and delivered a resounding knock against a tree, a classic phenomenon reported in Sasquatch lore known as tree knocking, before vanishing into the forest. Though no photograph accompanied the story, the vividness of the account, the direct eye contact, the deliberate, intelligent action, captured the imagination. It speaks to a creature that is not merely a wild animal, but an intelligent being capable of interaction, however cryptic. The lack of a specific time or location fuels skepticism, yet the story endures because it taps into the deepest core of the legend, the feeling that in the quiet of the wilderness,